Hello, I'm Oliver from Car Chat TV, and in today's episode, we're going to be road testing the brakes, and exploring this beautiful monster is Torquay, the TRIUMPH TR4A, and letting you guys know if it's a classic worth buying. Yeah. So I am in a 1967 TRIUMPH TR4A two-seater roadster. This thing is rear-wheel drive. It's got 104 brake horsepower, 179 Newton meters of torque, and it is Torquay. Oh, listen to that sound! So this car has a 2.1 litre engine, 4-cylinder, well, 2138 to be precise, but who's counting? It weighs just over 1,000 kilograms, and you're going to get about 25 miles to the gallon with this baby. Now the TRIUMPH TR4A was designed by Giovanni Michelotti, 20th century prolific designer known for his Ferrari cars, Maserati, Lancia, Triumph, and he also designed some of the Leyland trucks too. This guy was multi-talented. Right, let's talk about the driving setup. I'm seated rather low, but I can see straight over that gorgeous, glorious contouring of the bonnet. I love that. It's got a little speed bump there, which actually works as an aesthetical piece, but also it's functional because the carburetors have got high tops on them, so they stick up, which would hit a straight bonnet. So there's a nice little speed bump. The steering, there is no power steering on this, so it is a little bit of a battle when you're going a bit slow around those corners. Again, with the brakes, there's no servo, so you have to stamp on these babies to get the car to stop. The whole experience of this car is a workout. It's like going to the gym. I'm not going to need to go for the next month because you cannot take your eyes off this car. You cannot drive this car subconsciously. You have to give it your full attention. I'm talking about, am I going to use the overdrive? There's another little trinket down here for the high beam. The high beam for the light is by my foot. So if I want to use it, I'm going to have to use my foot to move from the clutch to click that little button down there to put on the high beams. I guess back in the 60s, they used their feet more than their hands. It's a little bit weird. I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you. But I've got the top down. It's an enjoyable experience. I've got 60s just throwing up on me everywhere I look. I've got this walnut dash right in front of me. I've got these little weird buttons, which I'm not even sure what the labels look like. There's two here. I know one's the choke. The other one's got a choke symbol, but it can't be a choke. I think it's to do with the heating. And then there's another little cool gadget switch. If I go down like this and pull this back, what that does is pop up a little vent on the bonnet, just before the bonnet, and that allows air to come into the cabin. Very novelty. So why choose a TRIUMPH TR4A as your classic? Well, that's a good question. It's a very rare car. They only made 28,000 of these, and now in the UK, to our online sources, there are only 1,000 of these babies left. Two, it's fun to drive. I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit of a workout. You do have to work with those gears, especially second. It can punish you. But the whole experience is an enjoyable one. It's fun. If you love the 60s, this is the car for you. Heck, forget that. If you love cars now and you want a fun Sunday drive to just go out, go a bit bonkers, listen to a bit of a throaty exhaust and a notchy gearbox and nice torque at your disposal, and it should be a solid investment. We're going to find out a bit later from the owner how much he paid for this, but I have seen again online for the TR4As go about £35,000. Who doesn't like money? No one, exactly. Also, this car has a cheeky little boot. I had a little look earlier, and here's what I found out. So, I know you're all wondering, what's the TR4 boot space like? Let's have a look. Very nice. It's not the biggest boot, but enough to get little bits and bobs in there, your cream teas for your Sunday meats. But can an Ollie get in the boot? Well, let's find out. Oh. Wow. I can safely say no. No, an Ollie can't. It's pretty tight in here. I'm gonna get out. One of the key features of the Triumph TR4A is this. No, it's not the Inland Revenue Security. Silly joke. It is independent rear suspension. Its predecessor, the TR4, did not have IRS and was known for a little bit of a bumpy ride. So the TR4A has a few changes. It's made 22 millimeters wider, and it's got independent rear suspension now on the back. Don't know what I was doing there. Right, we've had a little drive. It's time to meet the owner, but not before I give this beast one more little burst. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! God, I hope he's not angry with me. Here we are with the owner of the TR4A, Roland, aka my dad. So Dad, talk to me. How did you acquire the Triumph TR4A?
I bought it from a friend about 15 years ago, about the time I was doing most of the work on your model for your university. And yeah, it was just bits really, and a basic chassis, and he'd taken it all to bits. So
talk to me in one go. How much did you pick it up for?
£1,000 it was.
£1,000. And you've done bits since I remember from childhood, always adding to it. How much have you spent total on the car?
As it sits here, about £4,000.
So £4,000. And we spoke earlier actually, some of our sources online, in the classic car websites, you can pick them up for around £35,000. So they are an investment.
Yeah, this certainly has been.
Would you consider selling this?
Yeah, everything's for sale, even you.
There you go. Thanks very much. So let's talk about some modifications, because looking at this car, it's not completely stock, i.e. the big fat chunky wheels. Where are they from? Yeah,
the wheels are from a TR6. The suspension's been done. It's got adjustable suspension, stiffer springs, and it's lowered by about 2-3 inches. 2 or 3 inches lower. So the original wheels are spokey, right, with those spinning tops? I think I saw. Yeah, wire wheels were the originals. Yeah. The gearbox has got an overdrive. That was an extra, but it didn't come with it, so I sourced another gearbox for it.
So I spoke a little bit about the overdrive when I took this for a drive. It's like a fifth gear basically. It drops it down by 500 revs. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's just for quietness and economy really on fast roads.
Decent.
No performance advantage as such.
So what's your favourite thing about the Triumph TR4A?
It's just the basic styling of it really. It's just a the grassroots car. You have to drive it. It doesn't drive you.
It is a workout. This shirt has got even more tighter now. I'm not going to be able to go to the gym for a month. The steering is got blisters on my fingers.
No power steering. Yeah.
No power steering, and the brakes as well. No servos.
No, you've got to stamp on them with all your might.
Is it? What have you got in store for this? What's next to change?
Nothing really. I'm just starting to go around it again. It needs a respray really after that amount of time. So it's just a bit tweaking all the time. It's an ongoing project. Always will be.
So we've seen the car with the hood down all day because of the gorgeous weather. Now, can we sit with the hood up?
We can.
Let's do it.
You start your side.
So we got the hood back on. Ro, or Dad, I want to call you. I want to talk about some alternatives. If you weren't going to get a TR4A, I mean, what could you compare it to? We spoke earlier about an Austin Healey Sprite or an MGB Midget. What was the other one?
I suppose its closest comparison is an MGB, I suppose.
An MGB?
Yeah.
So we'd like to know, what would you choose? TR4A, MGB Midget? If you could go back in time, back to the 60s.
MGB Roadster.
MGB Roadster?
Yeah, the Midget's a bit smaller.
What would you choose? If you could go back in time to the 60s?
Yeah.
I'm sure I had a good time. What would you choose? Would you pick a TR4A or would you?
I'd have an E-Type Jag.
Well, don't tell us that. He's gone for an E-Type. Yeah, but that'd be more expensive.
Exactly.
So thank you for coming with us on our journey with the Triumph TR4A. I would love to know what you think about this car. I kind of like it. That's my opinion. Let us know down below in the comments. Give us a cheeky like. I even got my dad involved on the channel. That's got to deserve something. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next video. Fucking hell. Fucking hell, ads. Oh my God, my knee. Macho, macho. We want to take you to Funky Town.